Hi guys, great to be here with you today. If you haven't seen the previous video, then I recommend you doing so before watching the rest of this one. We're looking at the 4 points at the moment, and today is part 2, I have sinned, after our first part is called God loves me. Last week we looked at this symbol just here. We looked at how God created each and every one of us and He loves us so much, and showing the ultimate demonstration of His love for us by sending His Son to die in our place. But that's for next week. This week is about something different, just here. This week is about why that had to happen. And today we start in Romans. Romans chapter 3 verse 23 says, "All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." That means that every human being has failed to meet the perfect standards of God's goodness and righteousness. We've failed because we've done things our own way, not God's way. We have disobeyed His instructions, which He wrote in both the Bible and our consciousness. God's law is like a pane of glass. It's either broken or it isn't. It's no good saying, "Oh, I only lied," or "I never really stole anything that valuable." James 2:10 says, for whoever keeps the whole law and yet stumbles at just one point is guilty of breaking all of it. Whether it's murder or whether it's just a little white lie, whether it's adultery or just jealousy, every sin keeps us from meeting God's standard, and as both has a consequence and a penalty. The consequences for sin can be numerous. If we lie and we get caught and we can break relationships up and break trust. If we steal and get caught, we can get prosecuted and maybe put in jail. But the most serious consequence of sin is that it separates us from God and from the relationship He created us to have with Him. Isaiah 59 verse 2 says, "But your iniquities have separated you from your God. Your sin has hidden His face from you, so you will not hear Him." Have you ever wondered why God feels so far away? Even more serious is the penalty for sin. Romans 6:23 says, "For the wages of sin is death," i.e. death is what you earn from sinning. Not physical death, since that is inevitable for all of us, but it's the ultimate statistic. 1 out of 1 die. The Bible is referring to a spiritual death. That is the assumption that we are more than just physical bodies, that we have a spirit or a soul which persists after our bodies die. It's unclear exactly what it means for us to face spiritual death, but it's clear that it is the opposite of God's desired plan for you, in which it was our spirit goes to dwell for Him forever in His presence, what the Bible calls heaven. So we all have a big problem. We've all sinned, and because God is perfectly just, this sin means we must all face that spiritual death, the eternal separation from God, what the Bible calls hell. If you're unhappy about this, then you're pleased to know that because of God's great love for you, God was even more unhappy with this situation. And because of this, God made a way for us. But like I said earlier, that is for next week. Stay tuned and watch us next week.